In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about why marketing is so crucial and impactful to grow your business, but why even that is still just one part to growing your business. And in the episode, we're going to talk about Jobber, and that is the software I've been using now for the last 5 years in our business. Jobber is our CRM that we use to keep track of customers' information, book customers in our schedule, send out quotes, invoices, and accept payments. Employees clock in and out, and basically everything we have to do with our business, Jobber handles most of it. If you want to get a free 14-day trial plus a special discount, click the link down below and give it a try. Okay, so one thing I always talk about, if you've heard my podcasts or videos on Instagram or stories or YouTube videos, I always talk about marketing. Now that's one of the biggest factors when it comes to not just growing your business, obviously, but like changing the trajectory of your business is once you focus on the marketing and you start to generate leads and sales, how you operate your business and how you're able to actually look at it in terms of like what you need to do to grow completely changes, right? Because when you're in the phase of not getting leads, your phone's not ringing, your emails aren't being your submission forms aren't being filled out, you're not talking to potential customers, you're not booking customers in, you're not servicing customers, your mindset and where you are is completely different in your business because all you want to do is I just want to get work, right? And when you're in that mode of not being booked out, of not getting customers, the way you price your services, how you talk to the customer, your confidence in those jobs is a lot lower because the only thing you want is more work on the schedule, right? So when you're at a place of not despair, but if you when you're at a lack of abundance and your schedule's not booked out and you don't have whatever based on your goals, 3, 5, 10 paying customers per week, every person you talk to, every job you do, it's a lot more heightened because you need to do better, or you need to make sure that the customer shows up to the appointment, or that they confirm, or that they actually end up paying you because you just want to make it to that next step or the next job or the next goal, because like you don't you have a lack of abundance in those jobs, right? You don't have a healthy lead flow. Whereas when you're actually, if you're getting 3 to 5 calls a day, if you're getting 2 to 3 form submissions a day, so you're talking between, you're talking to maybe, 20 to 40 people per week of potential customers. The way you look at everything is completely different, right? Like it's a night and day stark difference of how you're able to run your business when you're looking at when you have 20 people you're talking to per week versus you're only talking to 2 people per week. The way you're able to navigate your business and look at your business is completely different, right? So marketing is very important. That I say that all the time. I'm a broken record. I'm always talking about SEO or Google ads or Facebook ads or whatever it is like that. You need a reliable marketing channel to grow your business like that, and that doesn't change. That's 100% true. It'll always be true, no matter if you're just getting started and you're trying to make your first $1,000 per month, or your first 10,000, or your first 25,000. If you want to continue to grow and make more money, you simply need more leads and customers. That will always be the bare none. Like that's always going to be the answer for the most part, right? 9 out of 10 people, 90% of the time, that's gonna be truth, a factual, right? Now, with all that being said, another part to that, everything I just said, is that marketing is still one part of growing your business, right? So as much as I always talk about how important it is to market your business, to get your phone to ring, to get customers, right? To change the way your business operates through marketing, okay? As important as all that is, because it is very, very important, it's still yet just another part, another piece to the puzzle in order to make everything work. And the reason why I say that is I see it all the time now that we have clients where I'm talking more on one-on-one with detailers, to where there's a lot of things that they simply don't have optimized, right? So the way I'm looking at it is, if you want your business to grow, you need to optimize every part of your business. Now, before I go any further, I don't mean literally today you now have to start focusing on 20 different things. That's not what I mean. But over time, as you grow and get more problems, because that's all you get. As you continue to grow your business, you only get more problems. That's it, right? Now, good problems to have, subjective, but you only get more problems as you go. Okay, like right now, if you're not making the money you want or you're not getting as many customers, your problem is you don't have enough customers. You're not marketing. But once you start getting customers and your phone starts ringing and you start servicing customers and vehicles, you only get more and more problems. Like that's all you do for the next 10, 20 years of however long you want to run your business. You are only solving problems. And that's it. Now, now when it comes to optimizing your business, right? I don't mean like, okay, so what are all the things I have to optimize? You will optimize as they come along, right? And the reason why I say that is because you can't, I don't recommend you assume and try to anticipate what it is that you have to optimize before you actually get there, right? And this is dependent on where you are in your business. Because if you're in the beginning phases, yeah, you don't need to assume anything. But obviously, once you have you have a good foundation of your business, you're making however much a month, you can kind of assume or at least anticipate what the next steps are based on what you're doing. Or I'm keeping things very general because it's hard to be specific. But like for instance, when we started offering window tint, my assumptions of what we needed to do were a lot better than when we first started offering vinyl wrap services, right? Because vinyl wrap services, that was our first time doing anything non-detailing related. It was our first time doing dealing with film services. So in that regard, like I was brand new to everything. And then from vinyl wrap, we went to PPF, and then from PPF, we went with the tint. So when it came down to actually offering tint services, not that I had it all figured out, but I had a better framework to go off of in terms of what I needed to anticipate in order to get the tint services up and rolling, right? So again, it depends on where you are in your business. Now, again, the key thing about this is optimizing your business in every way, right? Like every part of your business needs to be optimized because it's either one, creating a better experience for your customer, or two, helping you grow your business, right? Because like in every, like it sounds so rudimentary probably, but like literally you might think it's like, oh, I need a customer to call me, I need to book them in, I need to go service them, right? You can kind of dilute everything down to 3 steps, right? If you hear that buzzing in the background, they're working in the shop. You need to get the lead, book them in your calendar, go service them, right? 3 easy steps. But within those 3 steps, there's a lot of other small things that have to get done in order for it to be optimized. And when I mean optimized, I mean there's a system in place for you to follow. And you might be thinking, oh, well, it's just me, so I don't really need it. I don't really need any of that. That's a big false. That is a big misconception. That is a myth you must like stop thinking about. Because like, yes, it might just be you right now, but it might not be you, just be you in the next 6 months or a year, right? If that's one of your goals to hire help, again, whether it's full-time, part-time, whatever, like what, regardless of any of that, if at some point you want to hire someone in the future, you have to start thinking about how to systematize your business now. And when I mean systematize, I don't mean like, oh, well, here's this big document showing everything that we do, which that isn't entirely bad, right? But more so of like every step you do in your business, there is a way to do it, right? And if you keep everything in your noggin and only you are the one that's able to do it, you are going to kind of cripple yourself when it comes to like the next steps that you can do. Because there's so many little things that go on to run a business that you really don't realize. And you might like, to you, it's second nature. To you, it's like, oh, of course you do that because you're the business owner, right? You're going to be the best employee in your business. You're going to be the most efficient employee in your business because you're the one that has the most skin in the game when it comes to running your business. So for you, it's like, oh yeah, of course you know, when you book a customer in, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And, you know, to you, it's like, oh, of course you are. But now if you hire someone, if you're getting help from someone, you so easily forget that step and like, oh, like, of course you're supposed to do that. So anyways, you know, very, very, very simple, generic example, but here's what I mean of like optimizing your business. Okay. When you can take it so far back, but let's say when someone calls you as a lead, right? And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you know, they're asking for whatever, paint correction and interior detail, right? Whatever. It's going to be $1,000. For one, there should be a system, right? A process and the questions that you ask to the potential customer, right? What questions do you have for them? If you are going to book them in, what details specifically do you need to make that happen, right? So when we were mobile or strictly mobile, we would ask for a different set of criteria or different set of information. Then now that we're strictly shop, it's different information that we're asking for, right? Because we used to go to the customer and now the customer is coming to us. So it is a different set of information that we need. Or not that we need, or maybe that we need to give to the customer. So it's like there's a process and a system to how you talk to the customer. Like for instance, if we're gonna send out a quote to a potential customer, right? Maybe they're calling to get, or maybe it's in person, whatever the case may be, and maybe they're gonna get, let's stick to the to the paint correction and interior detail. Inside the way that we quote, right? Like for instance, we use Jobber. But whatever CRM that you want to use, there's a system in place for you to send out that quote, to track that quote. And if that customer or if that lead approves that quote, there is a system in place to convert that quote into a job and get it on the schedule, right? So like for instance, when we if we have someone come in, whether it's a walk-in or a phone call, and they ask for a quote or they ask for some information, we will send over a quote, right? So let's say it's a correction and an interior detail. We're gonna require a $100 deposit. So inside of Jobber, right, we need the customers at a minimum, right? At a minimum, we need their first name and email address. Last name, phone number, I'm not really worried about that because like we're still on the beginning steps. Like if they confirm the job, they don't ask for the rest of the information. But if I want to keep things like the most bare essential, I just need their first name and their email address. And we will send them over a quote through Jobber. Okay, we're gonna say the interior detail is gonna be 200, and then the correction is gonna be 800. Made up numbers. And then we will send that email over to the customer. If we're talking to them on the phone, we're gonna have their number too. A lot of the times though, we get their full name, their email address, and their phone number. So I'm being giving you an example of like the bare minimum that we need. But oftentimes we have their full name, their email address, and their phone number. So, like let's say, we get off the phone, we go in Jobber and we send them a quote, and inside of Jobber, we can send the quote we can text the quote over to the customer straight through Jobber, right? Now in Jobber, right? And again, this should be applicable to most, like all CRMs that you use, whatever it is that you're using, this should all be applicable. Inside of Jobber, once that quote gets sent, it will send 2 or 3 email reminders over the next week. One the following day, one 3 or 4 days later, and then one 7 to 9 days later, following up automatically on that email. There's a bug here. Now, inside of Jobber, we can also, on that quote, request a deposit. So when we create the quote, we'll select request deposit. We put the deposit amount of $100. So now when the customer goes to that quote and they open up on their phone, they press approve quote. After they approve it, it will ask them to enter their credit card info to pay the $100 deposit. Once they click that button and they pay, they have the option of saving their card on file, which a lot of people actually save their card on file. It looks very professional. Like with Jobber, it looks like it looks very high level. Once they click approve and they pay the deposit, we get sent the notification saying the quote has been approved, right? So then we'll reach out to the customer, or they'll mostly reach out to us, and like, hey, I just paid the deposit, and we'll book them in the calendar. So from the job itself, the quote, it says convert to job. We click the button convert to job, and then we schedule them on the calendar. Now, in that same process though, there's things to be optimized because one, it's optimizing the quote itself. So you have to imagine that this customer is maybe getting quotes from other businesses, from other detailers, right? So when we're sending out a quote and we're going to send out a quote for the interior detail and the correction, we're not just going to send out a quote with the light item, interior detail, and correction. Why? Well, because I mean, if they're getting 2 or 3 other quotes, we want ours to stand out the most. We want to see the most professional. We want to see the most premium. So in our quote, we're going to give a small description of what that service is, and just a few other contextual details based on what we spoke about. But what I'm saying is, in sending out the quote itself, one, it's going to be done within like 10 minutes after the phone call, really like under 5 minutes, depending. If we go straight from the phone call to a quote, within 5 minutes, that quote is being sent out and it's in the customer's hands, virtually, right, like on their phone or email. Inside that quote, again, and inside those quotes, it's already a saved pre-template, right? Once we select the service, it's already filled out in terms of what the description of the service. If we need to go in there and add any specific notes, we'll do that. So then, when we're in Jobber, one of the things that we're going to look at is what quotes are sent out or what invoices are sent out, right? Those two things are different, right? A quote is just getting it approved and then paying the deposit, whereas the invoice is like you're just paying it outright. I'm not going to get into the technicality of that, but those two things are different. A quote and an invoice are different. So in those things, the email reminders get sent out. Once those email reminders get sent out, and they kind of pass their time, we'll reach out manually. Because one thing is, if there's a quote if there's an outstanding quote, we need to hear a yes or no. What we don't want is just a quote being out in limbo mode for weeks and months on end, just sitting there doing nothing. We need an action to say, are we moving forward or are we not? And obviously, if you have questions, that's never a problem. But what I'm saying is, like, these are the things that are in place to make your business run, right? Inside of Jobber as well. And one thing to note is that there's never one software that like does everything that you want it to do, right? Like, no matter what software you have or however much you're paying, no software does everything that you want it to. Just flat out, it's not going to. Every single person is going to have their own little way of wanting to do something that software just might not do the way that you want it to do. That's going to be applicable to so many software. So whether it's you're using Jobber or the countless other apps, there will always be something you don't like. Now, inside of Jobber, there's a lot of other things that you can do to make sure everything is optimized. And again, like, I don't mean that it's customer facing or that it's marketing related. No, I just mean like just to run day-to-day operations. These things have to be optimized, right? How people clock in, how people review the notes on the job schedule. Like if Lex intakes most of the calls and customers, and he books like 90% of them in. So that means whatever he talks to the customer, whether they're saying anything specific about the job, about the price, about when they're going to drop it off or pick it up, or if they have another vehicle they want to bring in, or if they're interested in another service or anything like that, that has to be put inside of the notes in Jobber when he books it in. That way, if I or Angel have to accept the vehicle when they get here, right? Like, when they pull up for the appointment, if Lex can't take them on, like, me and Angel have to talk to them. Well, we're gonna reference this the job notes and see okay, I see their name, I see the vehicle, I see the services that they're getting. Is there any extra details that I need to know? To talk to them. And again, 9 out of 10 times we have all the proper notes. Again, and same thing applies to the jobs that I book in, right? I booked in the $1,800 job that we have in the shop right now. And I was here like 30 minutes with the customer, and inside the notes, I made it clear of what the customer wanted, why he's getting it, and what we need to focus on. That way, if and with that customer, Lex actually took on the customer, and he took on he got the keys from him. So again, these are the ways that you optimize your business. Like all these things make a big difference. Like they truly make an impact on your business, because if things are not in place, if things are just scattered all over the place, it makes it a lot more difficult to book more customers, to handle more leads, to be able to grow your business to where you're not pulling your hair out every single day trying to keep everything together, right? Like again, like I said in the beginning, you're only going to solve problems in your business. That's it, right? Your only job in your business is to solve problems. The way you do that is by being proactive with what you have going on, right? You will never, ever in your life, in your business, not have a problem. Like that's all you're going to be doing for the next 20 years. You're only solving problems. Now, obviously, with the proactive mindset, with the right kind of structure, the problems you solve them once and then you go on to the next problem, right? Not literally just once, but you get the point where like there's a problem, you figure out the solution, you create a system around it, and then you keep on moving forward, right? Anytime we add a new service, there's going to be a ton of new problems to solve, right? It happened when we started offering Vinyl Rep. It started when we started offering PPF. It happened when we started offering window tint, because there's so many unknowns to the business, right? But now over time that we have gotten more and more and more and more window tint jobs, we're able to see, okay, here's the problem. What's the solution? Let's run that for a little bit. Okay, I got it. Now let's kind of create a little system around that, right? So how we price jobs, how we talk to customers, how we upsell window tint jobs, how we book them in, how we price them, how the quote that we get, like all this now has systems around it, right? And the first, 5 to 10 customers that we got, no system, right? No, there was no system because we didn't know what we didn't know, right? It was just, all right, let's let it play out. And then what do we need to do, right? What material do we need? Or, what do we charge for as a deposit? Or, how long does this job take? And all these things, right? It takes time. You need to get through the experience and the reps, but like you optimize your business for all these things, right? Like 2 other things that we have, which we've done it manually and now we kind of automate it. Like for instance, asking for reviews. We have another software that we pay for that we connect to Jobber. Again, like I said, no tool has everything. No software has all the things that you want it to do. And even if it does, there's usually another software out there that does it better. So like with Jobber, we have this software that automates the reviews. So inside of Jobber, once we click the job is complete, and I think it's just when we click the job is complete, they get an immediate text message asking for a review, and then they get an email 3 days later, and then they get another email 4 days later, and then they get another email 7 days later. At any point where they leave the review, the email stopped going to them, right? So again, that could be done manually, right? That could be where we say, hey, after we book them in, tell them that we're gonna send them a text message and to leave us a review, right? You can do it manually as well, but for us, with Jobber, with what we use, we just connected an app. We're paying for it, and now whenever we complete a job, it just sends them a review, right? Another thing that we do, which I mentioned in the past, is called Company Cam, where now we send a link to the customers where we're documenting the detail, whether it's photos or videos. As we do the before inspection, take all the photos and videos. It's during the process when we're actually working on the vehicle, and the after photos, we send a link to a customer that has all the photos and videos of the process. That way, one, they get to see what's happening to their vehicle. They know what's being worked on, and for us, it's an accountability or more of we're gonna track any prior damage or anything that's on there. So now it also helps us with the customer to say, oh, hey, like, was this already here? Oh, look at all the, like, yeah, that was there because like we took 10 photos and look, there's damage everywhere. So that was there too. But again, that in itself has a process and a way to be optimized. It might sound like, depending where you are in your business, where it kind of sounds like, oh, like I don't need to do all that right now. And maybe at this point in time where you are, you probably don't, depending on where you are. But if you're getting a consistent amount of customers, you have to look at your business in a way of like, what can I do to optimize it? Because I'm like, in no exaggeration, if you want a well-oiled machine, every step, did it kill it? Nope. Every step of the process needs to be optimized, because at every point in the process, you're either making your life easier or harder. At every step in the process, you're either making it more convenient or less convenient to the customer, right? You're either giving them a better experience or a worse experience, right? How long it takes you to send out a quote, how long it takes you to convert that quote into a job, how long or how many times you communicate with the customer before they arrive or before you go to their appointment. All these things have to be optimized, right? Again, whatever CRM that you're using, like for us, we send the Jobber automatically sends out an email reminder text 3 days in advance and a text message reminder 2 days in advance. And if they don't confirm on either of those, the day before the appointments, we'll reach out manually and ask them, hey, Johnny, are we still good to go for tomorrow at 9 a.m.? That in itself is a system in place, right? The way we upsell window tint using the heat lamp and everything, there's a system in place for that, right? Some are more formal than others, but nonetheless, like we do have the mindset of like, what can we do to make this better? And like I said, it never goes away, right? The problems never stop. You'll only keep on having problems. So there's always things to do that can make, that you can get better at. And it comes with time and experience, right? Whether you ended up damaging something, whether you had a terrible experience with a customer, maybe you had a great experience with a customer, all these things, you're like, okay, that was bad, let's not do that. That was good, let's do more of that. But your business, like you have to look at your business as and one great book, what's the book called? It's called The Goal. I'm gonna look at it real quick. I'm looking at it live here, but that's one of The Goal. It's called The Goal. The Goal by, what's this author's name? I'm not going to pronounce it right, but it's called The Goal by Elihu Goldratt. And I like the way he put it to where, and that's where I got the quote from. He put it more like if you're, and I'm going to shorten this, like I highly, it's a short read too, so I highly recommend you go read the book or get it on Audible, to where if there's a pipeline that connects your business together, right? And somewhere in that pipeline, there's a problem that you need to go solve, right? Maybe it's, whatever the problem might be. There's a, let me grab this. If you're watching this on the video, I'm showing you an example. Let's say the business is just a big old pipeline connected with a bunch of these things, right? And somewhere here, there's an error, there's a holdup, there's a chokehold somewhere, right? And you go in there and you fix it, right? The problem that's right here, it doesn't just magically go away because you fixed it. It moves somewhere else. And that's why I say you'll never stop solving problems because you'll only have problems. The problems never go away. They just move somewhere else, right? So in the beginning phases, you're like, oh man, I'm not getting any customers. Okay, you do your marketing, you do all this, now you're getting customers, all right? The problem itself, right? Like the ball of problem doesn't go away. What went away was the problem of not getting customers. Now that you are getting customers, 5 more problems just came about. Right? Now, one thing I do like to say is for every one solution you make, 5 other problems will arise. So then that's 5 other things you have to focus on to either solve, optimize, or systematize. Right? So like for instance, when we wanted to start doing window tint, right? Yes, let's do window tint. Boom, that's a solution. Yes, we should offer window tint. Then it's like, okay, well, where do we get trained? What brand? What film do we offer? What services? How do we do the work? How do we get the customers? Right? Like, that's literally how it goes every single time. Then once we go and we send Andrew to get trained and we buy some of the film, it's like, okay, so now let's say we book our first job. Okay, well, we undercharged. This one was actually very difficult to complete. We need to keep the vehicle longer because we're taking longer because we don't have a plotter and then just cutting everything out by hand. And again, like that in itself is something that you have to solve every single time. Like for every one solution, 5 other problems will arise every single time. And that is the reality of when I'm trying to shoot content or when I'm talking to clients on the phone, like for our marketing agency, because I heard the door open and I didn't know if it was Angel or Lex, so I had to get up and check who it was. I don't know who it was. I think someone just opened the door. They probably mistake the unit. But that literally happens all the time. Like it's quite distracting. Like trying to do this while obviously running the business, not in a bad way, but like it's distracting when like I'm just trying to shoot the video, and then there's just like a lot of other things going on. But again, that's just the nature of running the business. So, but I'll go ahead and end the video right there. Hopefully you learned something. Go back into your business and just make something a little bit better. Whatever that is, just make it a little bit better. I'll talk to you on the next one.